In 1993, a receiver hit the turf at Veterans Stadium, and both of his kneecaps shattered on impact. One injury in a decades long pattern at a venue an entire city had already branded cursed. Then investigators tested that artificial surface and found 16 PFAS chemicals woven into the field. To understand how America's cursed stadium hid its darkest secret in plain sight, you have to go back to the moment a city first started believing. For nearly a century, an unwritten rule governed the Philadelphia skyline. No building could rise higher than the bronze hat of the William Penn statue atop City Hall, standing exactly 548 feet above the streets. This gentleman's agreement was more than a building code. It was a civic pact of respect with the city's founder. That pact shattered in March 1987. Developer Willard Rouse completed One Liberty Place, a glass and steel spire climbing to 945 feet, dwarfing the bronze founder below. To developers, it was progress. To a passionate, hypersensitive local fan base, it felt like a betrayal of history. Almost immediately, a heavy, silent weight settled over local sports. The Phillies, Eagles, 76ers, and Flyers slid into an agonizing, multi-decade championship drought. From 1987 to 2008, local fans watched victory collapse under the weight of late-season disasters and strange misfortunes. A collective narrative hardened in the stands, spoken across neighborhood taverns and late-night talk radio. They called it the curse of Billy Penn. When Veterans Stadium became the stage for inexplicable defeats and cold, grey disappointments, fans recognized a broader pattern. They viewed the arena as the physical ground where a city's broken promise played out, adapting an ancient superstition to make sense of the modern darkness. Human brains are wired to find order in chaos. Under the pressure of persistent disappointment, this natural drive for order shifts from simple memory into a protective shield. At the Vet, decades of sudden, late-game collapses stopped feeling like isolated sports tragedies. They became a sequence. When a critical pass slipped through a receiver's hands or a potential game-winning kick drifted wide, the reaction in the concrete stands was no longer shock. It was a quiet, familiar nod of recognition. This is the moment where superstition transforms. It ceases to be an eccentric hobby and becomes a lens through which an entire community views reality. Psychologists identify this as pattern recognition under stress. When people lose control over their environment, the mind invents connections to restore predictability, even a dark one. Rumor and heartbreak quickly hardened into an active, weekly expectation of disaster. Fans did not merely worry about failure. They waited for it, scanning the field for the exact moment the trap would spring. Every dropped ball or bad bounce served as fresh proof of an invisible, hostile weight. In this environment of collective dread, the venue was no longer just a concrete and steel structure. It became an active participant in the struggle, a physical monument to a city's anxiety, where the only certainty was that something, inevitably, was bound to go wrong. The warnings were written in the medical reports of visiting teams. On November 14, 1993, Chicago Bears wide receiver Wendell Davis ran a routine pass route across the stadium's unforgiving surface. As he planted his feet to track the ball, his cleats caught in a seam of the AstroTurf. The synthetic carpet refused to give. The sheer force of his momentum ruptured the patellar tendons in both of his knees simultaneously. Davis collapsed in agony. His NFL career effectively ended on a routine play. Just 1 year later, the field claimed a local anchor. In 1994, Eagles linebacker Byron Evans planted his foot on the same surface to make a tackle. His leg snapped, and his knee ligaments tore apart. The pattern was no longer a theory. The stadium floor had become an active hazard. By January 2001, a league-wide players' poll voted Veterans Stadium the worst playing field in professional football. In an attempt to fix the problem, the city replaced the old carpet with a new material called Next Turf. The solution was short-lived. 2 years later, the field collapsed in 2003. The stadium floor had become an active hazard. By January 2001, a league-wide players' poll voted Veterans Stadium the worst playing field in professional football. In an attempt to fix the problem, the city replaced the old carpet with a new material called Next Turf. The solution was short-lived. On August 13, 2001, hours before a preseason game against the Baltimore Ravens, players and coaches inspected the brand new surface. Instead of a smooth field, they found a dangerous grid of loose seams, pronounced lumps, and sunken divots. Fearing another disaster, the teams refused to step onto the field, forcing an immediate game postponement. The transition from dark superstition to physical danger was complete. The true enemy was not an invisible spirit, it was the ground beneath their feet. The architectural record of Veterans Stadium, which opened on April 10, 1971, documents a history of mechanical maintenance and constant repair. Municipal files reveal a building in regular friction with its own design. A major resurfacing in 1995 replaced the original synthetic carpet, followed by significant overhauls of the stadium's lighting systems in 1998 and 2002. These upgrades were scheduled adjustments to an aging concrete multi-purpose pole. The statistical records also complicate the supernatural narrative. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, the stadium hosted a documented performance dip. From 1998 to 2000, the Eagles finished 8-8 at home compared to 9-7 on the road, while the Phillies' home winning percentage dropped to 57% between 1999 and 2001. This home field disadvantage reflects the physical difficulty of adapting to an unforgiving surface. Similarly, the popular rumors of catastrophic game-altering floods within the lower concourses find no backing in official city maintenance logs or engineering reports. While fans frequently recalled water pooling in the restrooms, no documented flood event ever disrupted play. The archive reveals a facility defined by physical wear, engineering limits, and constant structural updates. In March 2023, the legend of a cursed stadium confronted a stark physical reality. Investigative reporters Barbara Laker and David Gambacorta of the Philadelphia Inquirer published a series titled Field of Dread. Their work focused on a grim pattern. 6 former Phillies, who spent their careers running on the wet synthetic turf, had died of glioblastoma, a rare and aggressive brain cancer. The names belonged to franchise icons David West, Ken Brett, Doug McGraw, John Vukovich, Johnny Oates, and Darren Dalton. For adult males of their age in the region, this cluster represented an incidence rate roughly 3 times higher than expected. To find a source, the reporters tracked down physical evidence. They purchased 2 sealed 4-inch memorabilia squares of the stadium's original 1982 AstroTurf from an eBay listing and shipped them to a certified testing laboratory in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. The laboratory findings stripped away the comfort of superstition. The 40-year-old turf fibers tested positive for 16 distinct PFAS, the toxic, forever chemicals used in manufacturing to prevent cracking. Among them were PFOA and PFOS, compounds highly restricted due to their carcinogenic risks. This discovery reframed the history of the venue. The invisible, hostile force that fans felt in the concrete pole may not have been a spiritual curse, but a physical hazard embedded in the ground itself. Yet the science did not offer easy closure. Epidemiologists cautioned that proving a direct causal link between turf exposure and glioblastoma is nearly impossible with a small sample size. The chemical discovery did not erase the emotional weight of the tragedy, it only confirmed that the ground beneath their feet was truly hostile. Today the concrete is gone, but the dread remains. The true curse was never supernatural, it was a silent, toxic reality. Some scars never truly heal. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.